You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Once Upon a Time After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Once Upon a Time After Show.
This song is so appropriate for tonight's episode. Bing is for doing, and we are doing another after show for Once Upon a Time Season 2, Episode 7, titled Child of the Moon. I'm Cathy Kelley, and joining me tonight is...
Hi everyone, I'm Tiona Hobson.
Hi everyone, I'm Marisa Serafini.
And good evening, I'm Kaori Takee.
And of course, tonight's episode was all about Ruby, the she-wolf.
Yes.
And overall thoughts, what did you guys think of tonight's episode?
I liked it. I thought it was a little bit of a slower pace, which was nice after all the information we were given last week and the week previous. It was kind of nice to slow it down and have it kind of a mellow night for Once Upon a Time.
I agree, and I love Ruby. Like, she's one of my favorite characters, even from season 1. So to get to see more of her wolf and backstory, I loved seeing how they all play that out.
I'm kind of the opposite. I thought it was, a slow pace, and it was not as revealing as I wanted it to be, but I guess I'm an impatient person, so I, want more answers as fast as possible. So
yeah, we did get some answers at the end of the episode regarding dreams and how maybe they can be used to communicate. Maybe they are a portal. We still don't know. I know that a couple of us listened to the official podcast for Once Upon a Time, and Kitness and Horowitz did say that we would learn more about the dreams in some upcoming episodes.
Sounded like pretty soon.
Yeah.
Like it was going to be a fast turnaround with that one.
And, I mean, since that was last week and it was a podcast after last week's episode, maybe this was just what they were talking about. This little snippet of the dreams. Hopefully we'll learn more.
Yeah. We need more.
Yeah, they also mentioned that we'll find out by the end of the season what is in the box. From last episode.
We'll see
what August had in that box.
Correct.
Yeah, I was thinking back on my prediction about the enchanted heart, and I was like, that was a bit too extreme. But I don't know. I'm still
I agreed
going
with you.
with it.
Yeah.
And I still agree with you.
But I watched the episode again, and I know some of the other predictions were that there was a fairy in there, but both hearts and fairies glow. So I feel like it wasn't that, because we didn't really see anything that was glowing.
And I heard another theory that it might be like a drawing of Rumpelstiltskin's dagger.
Yeah.
Which August did have in season 1. He showed it to Mr. Gold in one of the episodes. So.
And that would work really well if Neil is Bae.
Yeah. Exactly.
Otherwise, it wouldn't really convince an average Joe that magic exists. What is this drawing that you have of a dagger?
Exactly.
What a fancy looking dagger you got there.
Yeah. But hopefully that'll get answered maybe before we go on hiatus. That'd be nice.
That'd be
the next
nice.
couple episodes. Unfortunately, we won't have an episode next week because they will be off for, what award show is it?
The American Music Awards.
Stupid American Music Awards.
Messing with our Once Upon a Time.
I know. We want more answers.
Exactly.
We want more answers. I guess it's a preview for what we're gonna have to miss in upcoming weeks for Christmas and all the other holidays.
Well, maybe we can just rewatch it again and
yes. It is a good opportunity to catch up.
Absolutely.
But at least the hurricane or the election messed with our schedule.
It did, yeah.
Like it affected all the other shows.
Yeah.
That's true. I guess we were lucky in that sense.
So if you think about it, we're still good.
Yeah, we're on track. But let's talk about tonight's episode. While it was slower, I feel like it still had a lot of information.
Yes.
That needs to be discussed, and it started out with a big plot point. The dwarfs have been mining for fairy dust for weeks now. And, I mean, it may have just been a couple days in Storybrooke, but it was weeks in our mind. And Grumpy ends up finding this hole full of diamonds that can be made into fairy dust. So,
which is great that they finally found something, because they've been down there for what feels like forever looking for anything. And I thought that was great that they finally were able to find something, and hopefully they're able to use this fairy dust in a way to help.
We learned at the end of the episode that King George or Spencer kind of
ruined the way they thought they were going to use it, but there still has to be another use for
but there
the fairy
is an
dust.
Exorbitant amount there, and I believe the blue fairy, I can't quite remember her real name, but she said that just a small amount would be enough. So I'm wondering, what are they going to do with the rest of it?
I'm sure that there is going to be some use for the fairy dust that they have.
I mean, Geppetto's still around, and he was able to kind of mold that tree into a portal. Maybe they can use fairy dust to help with another sort of portal that he could craft out or something.
I think that somehow the fairy dust is going to find its way to make itself extremely useful, and maybe it won't need the hat. Maybe the hat won't need to be refabricated.
Well, I know that I feel like jumping lands is one of the hardest things to do, even if you do have magic. You know, they had to have a curse that was the thing that brought them to Storybrooke, and there were only very few portals. I mean, we know that there aren't any magic beans left, or we're assuming that there aren't any magic beans left. That was the last of the enchanted trees, so unless a few grew over those 28 years.
Or maybe that's all that we know of, or that they know of. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe
there's more hidden in another world.
Maybe.
They gotta find a way to bring us back.
Please.
I think they're still stuck.
Yeah. So, we got a lot of answers about Ruby and more of her backstory, and we all know she was a wolf. She killed her true love, Peter. When was that? That was first season. Okay. I thought that was. And tonight we see a new love interest, potentially. Billy.
Gus.
Such a It was cute that they tied him in, but we realized very soon on when we were watching that his character wasn't going to be around long.
Yeah, it didn't last long.
Yeah.
So they hadn't really had a chance to catch up after the curse was lifted. But Billy wants to get to know Red, because he already knows Ruby. He suggests some drinks, and she says that she cannot go, or I guess Belle saves her, and it's because she's going to turn.
Or at least she thinks. She's not sure at this point if she's going to turn or not, because she can't find her red cloak anywhere, so she doesn't think it came over, and the thing, which is something that we talked about last week, about how maybe the cloak didn't make the trip with her over to Storybrooke.
Yeah, we were wondering where it went. Got our answer.
Yeah, we did.
We found out that
King George.
I was thinking of his Spencer. Yes. Spencer had it all along.
That man.
And when did he make his way to Storybrooke? Because we see him in Storybrooke in this season.
He showed
King
up
George?
briefly in season 1.
Yeah,
Season 1.
I mean, he's been there since the curse enacted.
Okay, because I vaguely remember him in season 1 for some reason.
He was...
He had a much smaller role.
Yeah, he was like the attorney in Mary Margaret's trial.
We saw more of him last season when he was in the Enchanted Forest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Thank you for reminding me, in case any viewers were lost just like me. So.
Yeah. Lost. Speaking of lost. No, I'm kidding. But Marisa actually pointed out when we were watching the episode, the time on the clock wasn't 8:15.
It wasn't. It was 8:20, which I'm guessing might have another meaning to it.
Maybe I was thinking it's probably not the case, but maybe they filmed a scene and it was 8:15, and then the clock kept going, and they had to do a second take.
Oh.
They just forgot to fix it. But I really don't think that they're that clumsy.
No.
I think that everything is completely thought out on that production set, and that probably isn't the case. But just in my mind, that's what I like to think. So let's talk more about Ruby. We see her past. We see her in Storybrooke, but more on her past. We see her relationship with Snow. And Snow and her are escaping or running from the Queen's guards, and it happens to be a full moon. And Ruby's cape is torn. She's worried that she's going to attack Snow, so they decide to split up. During that time, she meets this guy, Quinn, who happens to also be a werewolf.
Which I had a question. I can't remember. Do Ruby's eyes, or Red's eyes, do they glow like the other wolves were doing?
I think we saw that last time she changed.
Okay. I just couldn't remember that, and I saw everyone else's eyes doing it, and I was like, oh, that's a cool trick.
They're beautiful.
I was like, oh, mesmerizing eyes.
I know.
Orange eyes.
Yeah.
We saw Quinn's eyes glow, and I'm like, oh, he's a wolf too.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Instantly took it there, but Ruby did.
And not only are we introduced to Quinn, but we're also introduced to Ruby's mother, who we thought was dead.
Yes, Anita. And she's kind of, I don't know, she's kind of mean about the whole thing.
Yeah.
I kind of felt, I mean, it wasn't really Red's fault that Granny kidnapped her when she was a baby.
She's more jaded.
Yeah.
A
By
female
humans.
dog. Literally.
It didn't feel like a family reunion of happiness, and like when you skip from that scene and then the next time you see them, she's already telling her the story. I know they had to speed up on it, but it just didn't feel like a heartwarming reunion.
It seemed very weird
Right?
how quickly Red decided she was okay with that being her mother.
Because you'd think, I mean, okay, so Granny took me away, but why didn't you fight? Why didn't you come back? Why haven't you tried to get in contact with me since if you've been around this whole time?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like it was weird having her say mother, mother.
Yeah,
like,
I was just gonna say that.
Right? Just felt weird.
I'd be calling her Anita still.
Yeah.
And I want to know a little backstory about Granny. I hope that comes up sooner or later, because I want to know why she lied, if that was really the case, and kidnapped her and all that stuff.
Do you think that Ruby is, or presently has, issues with Granny because Granny lied to her for so long?
It doesn't seem like it. They seem a lot closer than she was to her mom. I mean, granted, she was with her for a couple hours, but
Granny did say Ruby in the end too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. They have such a strong relationship. I don't think that something like that would affect it.
They but they have their moments when they kind of do aggravate each other. I mean, there was last season when Ruby essentially quits her job there and goes off. So I don't think that she's harboring any hard feelings towards Granny, but maybe there's still just a little bit that kind of plays into their kind of knocking of heads.
That's why I think there's like a backstory that eventually we might hear about, like why Granny did the things she did and why Ruby is so sympathetic to whatever happened in the past.
I kind of feel like Granny maybe did it because, I mean, she did explain that she was a wolf at one point, and you know she knows what it's like, so maybe she was just trying to help her not have to go through
protecting.
I feel like everyone has their own way of protecting someone, and this is just Granny's best idea. Probably isn't the best way to go about it. She probably should have told Ruby from the very beginning, but
when will they learn? Just be honest from the beginning.
Oh, it's hard,
and
I guess.
then
it definitely is. But this whole scene, we saw a lot more of Ruby's personality, and it seemed like she really did want to just be accepted. You know, she finds all of these people. She finds Quinn. She finds her mother. She finds the rest of the wolf pack. And it seems like their wolf pack grew by one that day because Ruby wanted to join them. Snow comes to find her, and Ruby decides that she wants to stay with them. She's found her people.
She wanted to be accepted, and that's when you surround yourself with people. She just got there, and that's what she always wanted to, accept the fact that she was a wolf, and these people did.
Yeah.
Which is, why she wanted to stay.
I was kind of confused by, how Ruby, past Ruby, learned to control herself as a wolf. Why she couldn't remember that immediately when she was in Storybrooke.
I kind of took it as it's not that she didn't remember how to control it, but she was just scared because she hadn't turned in 28 years. So she didn't know if it was going to be like pent up, so it was going to be a big, huge awakening, or even how it was going to work being in Storybrooke now, because we know that magic hasn't been working the same way as it has in the past. So maybe she was just scared, and just as a precaution wanted more of safety measures set up.
But it seemed like the first night she definitely couldn't control it because she escaped from the freezer.
Maybe she just wanted to run free. But yeah, she couldn't control it that much. But she did just run into the woods.
She ran into the woods, but she blacked out, which is the thing that her mother said. If, you think that it's a monster, if you think that it's a wolf taking over your body, you're going to black out. It's going to control you. But if you accept that the wolf is a part of you, you are the wolf, then you can control your actions.
I think she was just super rusty, 28 years, so she blacked out because she didn't have full control. But by the second night, when she turned, he was saying I know, and she wasn't attacking them. She was just kind of scared.
Yeah, I think that was the big thing. She was just really scared, and maybe when you're scared, it can kind of cloud your judgment on remembering how to do things a little bit.
Yeah.
And I guess it does seem like in the past fairytale land, she didn't have that much experience.
She only had one night with them, really.
She had one night. I mean, she could have worked on it until, Emma was born, which might have been a few years. We don't know how long that time was in between, Snow finding her. And then Emma being born. It may have been a year. It could have been several.
I think it's definitely something that she continued to work on what she learned that first night with them and get better at doing it.
She wants to accept being both.
Yeah.
I kind of found it hard to believe that she did it overnight. I think that was just something that it would take time to learn how to control, but she did it in one night.
Well, she had guidance.
Yeah, she did have guidance, but I just found it hard.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought it was quick.
But, I mean, what if you thought that you were one way your entire life? What if you thought that you were an outcast, and then one day you found, 10 people that were exactly like you? They wanted to accept you, and it's much easier to accept yourself that way.
Right, but it's not, well, in my opinion, it's not so quick to be even if you believe all that, I don't think it takes overnight to be able to change something that you're so used to in your whole lifetime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, maybe she only did it for a few minutes. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess she did say that she remembered everything.
Yeah, and when she woke up, I thought that they were going to ask her and that she would say, "Oh, I remember up to this point." And they were like, "Okay, well, tomorrow night, you'll get better at it."
Yeah, that's what I.
Sort of a little bit of a build-up, but then my other questioning was, well, where's Snow during all this? Because you were supposed to meet her and you totally just ditched her.
Yeah. It was part of the story. They didn't have much time.
Yeah, they didn't have much time.
Because they did have to bring Snow's character back. And in what a way, she finds this cave that they're in, and they think she's a hunter who's out to kill them. Ruby saves her, and in the process, some of the guards had followed Snow and end up killing Quinn in the crossfire.
And I thought that was interesting because I had to remember that we're still at a younger Snow, because I was thinking in my head, Snow would know if people were tracking her, but then I remembered that at this point she's still learning. She's not the kind of badass of the woods that is like, oh, I can track and hunt and do all these things. She's still learning from Ruby and Granny at this point. So I was like, oh, okay, I forgive you for letting the guards follow you and basically leading them right into the wolf lair.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Den.
The den.
The den. Yeah.
Lions have lairs.
It's interesting because Snow and Ruby's storyline, I feel like, is one of the only few that crossed over after the curse was enacted. They're still really good friends in Storybrooke, and they were even when the curse was still around, when time was frozen.
Yeah, I didn't notice. I didn't realize that, but it's very true that they always have had a very special bond. And I think that maybe that's just the power of, their true friendship and their family, because...
But even true love sometimes didn't work out when the curse was enacted, and we realized that with, Snow and Prince Charming.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Anyways, back in old fairy tale land, Quinn dies, and then Ruby's mother wants to kill Snow to exact revenge, kind of, to help her pay for killing Quinn, killing one of them.
So, okay, was it just that, or did her and Quinn have a little thing going on?
I didn't feel that at all. I mean, did you guys?
Did they say? Maybe I missed it, but was anything said about what happened to Ruby's dad?
No.
So, is he potentially still alive, or was he really killed by hunters?
Maybe he was killed by the mom when she turned into
Yeah,
a
who
wolf.
Like a
knows?
praying mantis?
Well,
Black
maybe
Widow.
she turned one night and then ate him, kind of like how
Yeah.
Red did with Peter, and then that's when Granny was like, I'm going to take the baby and...
I just always thought
Maybe.
that her father was a wolf as well, since they said that they were killed by hunters.
her
Maybe he was
father
protecting
hunter.
her.
Yeah.
It's a
I
family affair.
feel like so far they've had 3 women wolves. Like, because
Okay.
Granny was the wolf, Ruby's mom, or
But
Red's mom. And
Quinn
then-
is a wolf.
Oh, yeah.
He's a male.
He's a male,
we
but
think.
on
He's a
their
male.
bloodline,
Cute male.
it's all females
Yeah.
in their family. That's
Yeah.
what I feel.
I don't like how the mother is just. She just seems like there's like no emotional value to her. She's just like, I'm a wolf. I am your mother. Go kill that woman. Like,
Yeah.
there was no like. The only thing was she was upset that Quinn died, but then she was like. It was more like you get one you kill ours, so kill her now. It wasn't. I don't know.
Maybe that was the reason why Granny wanted to get Red away from that. It wasn't about hiding her past. It was about hiding her mother and how
Maybe.
mean she was.
It's very
She does-
animalistic.
Yeah. Very animalistic.
Very wolf-like, just going for the kill instead of
Mhm.
the human emotions that
Mhm.
we're used to seeing.
Yeah. And one of the things she does say is that death always follows humans. Like, she kind of blamed it on humans why people die all around instead of the wolf that
Right.
ate them.
Yeah. And
I
like,
just thought that was interesting that she was, that's kind of how she thinks of humans, where I don't care if this girl stood by you and you were at your lowest points at all. You still need to take her out, because if you don't, I will, and
Exactly.
she will be the end to us all, basically.
Those wolves can kick ass. Just
They
gonna say.
were
Yeah.
very strong.
They were like,
There was
boom.
one point where I thought that they were also ridiculously fast in their movements when they thought a hunter was coming. I just saw them like spring
Yeah.
into action.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
They went into
Sure
hiding
has.
like
Yeah.
a split second.
It would be really cool if Ruby can learn how to harness that within Storybrooke.
Oh.
That'd be fun to see.
Yeah.
Well, she was pretty fast at the end, though. We're like, how'd she get outside howling so quick? That's what I thought. Like,
Yeah. But I want to see it faster.
we want to see it too.
Yeah,
You
we
can go a
do
little
want to
faster
see it.
than that.
Yeah.
So, as we all know, Ruby's mother ends up dying.
It's like a fire.
And she didn't even
pit
seem like when she died, it was like, you killed me.
That
you
happened
did this
so
to me.
fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was weird.
She is very like one note with her emotions.
yeah, like
Very
monotone.
monotone.
There you go.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe that's
it
the
wasn't
wolf
like
in her.
no
Yeah.
last words for her daughter. Like, I'm so happy I found you. Like, go
It was
on with
kind of-
this.
Her last words were kind of like, "Screw you! You picked her over
Yeah.
Yeah.
me,
Emotional.
and look what happened."
but
So now we both lose.
Ruby does say that Snow is like, you saved me over your mother. Why would you choose me over your family?
Mm-hmm.
And Ruby says, you are my family. You're more my family than my grandmother is. You're more my family than my mother is because you accepted me for both things. They both wanted to hide a part of me. And, you liked me as a whole. You accepted me as a whole.
I love
That's what family does.
Yeah, that's what family does.
That's what friends are for.
Yeah.
It was a very touching moment, and I was glad that we saw it because it, like we said, it's definitely something that you saw in Storybrooke for all this time. So it was very nice to kind of see the backstory, because one of the things that everyone keeps telling her, both in Storybrooke and in Enchanted Land of the Past, is that they trust her and they know who she really is.
Yeah.
And it's kind of in that moment where you see how they kind of really made that bond and connection.
Yeah.
I think that the bond, the Snow and Ruby bond, is really important because I think that'll mean that Ruby will really try to be helpful in getting Snow back into Storybrooke.
Yeah. She cares about her just as much as, Henry and David. And I thought another interesting point was at the very beginning of the episode, Snow said to Ruby, something along the lines of, I know the real you. I see the real you. And in the middle, in Storybrooke, David says the exact same thing. He says, I see the real you. It was the same exact quote. And, it's just a testament to how close they are and how they really can see the good in people.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Yeah, it was really nice.
So I want to move on and talk about Ruby in Storybrooke and how she was a wolf there. Before we do that, I just want to mention, if you aren't watching us on AfterBuzzTV.com or watching us on YouTube, you can also subscribe to us you can subscribe in general to us on iTunes. We have all of our podcasts there, all of AfterBuzz TV's podcasts. So just go to iTunes Store, type in AfterBuzz TV, and you can find our Once Upon a Time podcast, along with tons of other podcasts. We do about 50 per week. So if you have a favorite show on, you can subscribe to that as well, because I'm sure that we do it. And then also for our podcast, please rate and comment, because we really do read all of those comments, and we love to hear your feedback, good or bad. And it helps us. It helps us bring you all of this free content. We'd love to know how we're doing.
Hopefully the good.
Yes, hopefully the
Hopefully
good.
it's more good than bad.
We got a lot of great comments this past week on iTunes. Edge323, Emmers010, Nani, and Teacher KT. Teacher Katie? I don't know how you pronounce that. But thank you for all of those comments. All of those people rated, and they were all really nice in the things that they said about our show, which is amazing. We are continuously trying to improve the show. It's all new hosts from the second season, so if you just listened to the first season, then, give us a shot, and hopefully we're doing better. We also got a lot of great comments on YouTube, so if you do have any input, any feedback, we read those comments, and hopefully we can try to respond to them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any additions to that?
And
I know
also on YouTube as well.
Yeah, on YouTube. We also have an Afterblog. Afterblog is a very new thing that we're doing, and it's basically, in addition to our podcasts, it's a recap and some insight, and it's written by our very own.
Hey, so yeah, Kaori Takee. If you go on AfterBuzzTV.com, there is an Afterblogs tab, and there's plenty of shows that you can check out. We write about our recaps and our thoughts, and there's a comment box below, so you can comment down, and it's a great way another great way to communicate, and I would love to have you guys catch up on Once Upon a Time with me.
Yeah, and we get those up like Monday or Tuesday, so if you're sitting at work, Want to read? Want to kill some free time?
And you can't have sound.
You can read.
Guilty.
Yeah, so you can read the blog. We also have a ton of other blogs like Boardwalk Empire, Walking Dead,
Revolution,
Homeland,
Doctor Who,
and then X Factor. Couple reality shows. So
because we just can't stop talking about our favorite shows.
I know.
Yeah, we can't.
You'll definitely want to check that out. But back to our recap for tonight. Ruby in Storybrooke. She is in danger of changing, and she wants to be locked up. So originally, they lock her. Thank you for that, Stephen. They lock her in a freezer. She escapes, and we think she might have killed Gus.
Yeah, we're kind of
not sure. Yeah.
It's all signs are pointing to her, but I don't think we really wanted to believe that she.
No. We definitely didn't believe it when it happened, because if a wolf came around, would you really?
Yeah, right.
Would you have half the body, in a pickup truck, and the other half just on the,
Well, in the fairy tales, the wolf eat the like in the Brothers Grimm story tale for Red Riding Hood, the wolf ate her whole, so that the huntsman was able to actually cut open his stomach and they could walk out. So clearly they don't chew their food.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
If it were a wolf, the whole body would have just been gone.
And in the Brothers Grimm fairy tale, though, the wolf isn't a werewolf. It's not a human. It's a wolf.
Yeah, it's just a wolf.
So if you think about it, when she turned back into a human, that would be a huge food baby.
I mean, and here's the thing, you guys. We know that wolves aren't meticulous. They're not going to cut off one half and move the other one into the trash.
Yeah.
But it looked like the body was actually torn apart.
Yeah.
Like
chopped
ripped.
apart
Still,
with an axe,
moving.
Perhaps we saw 2 pieces.
I just, maybe it's too gory for ABC. Who knows?
Yeah. But so we're under the impression that it was Ruby who killed Gus. Turns out it's not. It's actually King George.
I mean, we all kind of guessed
Yes.
it was him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's this whole storyline between King George and Prince Charming, who actually is not a prince. King George wants to reveal to the townspeople who Prince Charming really is. He's just a peasant, a pauper, who they faked being a prince. And he says that he is going to stop at nothing, and that the prince should have killed him long ago when he first had a chance. Yeah.
I don't know. I love this kind of tension between them, because I always forget that Charming's not the actual prince, because he just kind of filled in the role so good, and everyone goes like, does Snow know that he's not? Oh yeah, she does, because she met his mom. I forgot about that earlier in the season. But not many people know about it, and that's something I always forget about. So kind of having King George back around, really reminding you of who he really is kind of exciting. It's frustrating because you just are like, why didn't you kill him? But then you realize that Charming's too nice.
It wouldn't have been in his personality to
exactly.
do that.
And I thought it was interesting how, King George is really the one who started it all, and he's blaming Prince Charming about everything, but he's the one that, got David. And he just started it, and he's not blaming himself. He's the one who's actually putting up with it.
Because even the real prince wasn't a real prince.
Yeah.
I think we kind of needed to have another villain now that Regina is kind of being nicer.
And Rumple's trying a little bit.
I still think Rumple's evil.
Rumple's still shady.
I think Rumple has his own,
agenda.
But maybe he knows something more about this portal. I guess we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
I actually think he might have had something to do with King George burning that hat, because he doesn't want those people to come back either. I really don't think that he wants the portal to be opened, because he knows who's waiting on the other side.
But he does want to have like an opening to go back, doesn't he? Because he was freaking out when he found out that like stepping outside of Storybrooke would make him.
I think he wants to find Bae, but I think that he's worried about Hook potentially coming back. And I think that there is a huge power struggle, or there will be, if Cora comes back as well.
Right, but I think essentially he wants Bay back, so I think he does kind of need the option of having a portal open.
Yeah.
Somehow.
But that's another question. Is Bay in the Enchanted Forest, or is he Neil?
That's... I don't know.
Find out when we find out.
So hard.
Hopefully
Episode
soon.
22.
That is one thing that after listening to the official Once podcast, I'm really upset that no one asked the question, when are we going to find out if Neil is Bay? But I guess there's no indication otherwise that Neil is someone else.
There's not, and there's also...
Yeah, there's not.
Yeah, I mean, he could just be a normal person, but then you'd have to explain what was in that box that a normal person would just completely start believing everything that was just said and magic and all that. So.
Yeah. Another theory is that he is just a random other fairy tale character, but I don't really know who else he could be.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, I just wanted to say in reference about like King George and Prince Charming not being the real prince. It's so ironic because King George, who has royal blood, whatever, is actually not treating his people like with truth and fairly, whereas a prince who's actually like a pauper knows how to treat people better and he has a better heart, and it's just funny how it turns out that way.
Isn't it kind of true with everyone? Those who are born with power treat people really badly, and those who kind of,
have been at the bottom.
Don't need it. Yeah.
It's humbling.
Yes.
For sure.
Which is why I think I would agree with David if the people found out the truth. I think that most of them would still stick by him because he's a genuine person who's always looked out. Yeah, they trust him. He might not have been born a prince, but he still is worthy of the title now because he's been with them through thick and thin.
That's true. I loved how David, he was a bit cocky towards King George, and he kept saying that you can do whatever you want. I have all of Storybrooke to back me up. And he really does, if you think about it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he really is confident.
But did you see how quickly they changed, how quickly they turned on him?
I think it was the fear factor again. They assumed Ruby had no control, and I think this whole episode is really, now I think about it, it's pivotal because it's like control takes away fear, as you're going to see in the dream, as we see in Ruby's character. So
that was a big theme, was the control.
Control and trust.
Yeah.
Who can you trust?
Yeah. Well, David, I really wonder why he went through these lengths to prove that Prince Charming is not who he says he is. He's not, the hero. I mean, he killed someone to prove this point.
He just wants to bring him down. He doesn't like him having power, and he wants to be the one in power. He feels like Prince Charming ruined his life, I think. It's another one of those revengeful situations.
Yeah.
Where the hate just grows so much that...
You do anything.
It gets toxic.
He's a bad apple.
It's intense.
I like that one.
Yeah. But his plan didn't really end up working out. David comes just in the nick of time to save Ruby on the second day that she turned. And there's this whole fight scene, all the townspeople with their pitchforks and crossbows and torches, and
finally, at least they, learned from the first mob.
The first mob didn't have anything. This mob had everything.
Yeah,
they were more prepared this time.
Yeah. And David and Spencer end up, hashing it out a little bit, and David ends up saving Ruby. He makes her realize who she is, which I'm kind of surprised by since Peter couldn't do that, being her true love.
But that was before she knew how to control it.
Yeah.
So.
And Peter didn't know that Ruby was the wolf either.
Yeah.
And then he, just got killed.
But if you remember that episode, he was pleading to her, and he's like, "It's me. Like you have to realize it's me." And that's the exact same thing that David said. So it was kind of cool to see that parallel, and for her to not actually kill him. I don't know what we would have done.
She's matured as a wolf,
but she's had more control since then.
Right. I mean, it was a different wolf. Like this one was cowering.
Yeah.
And the wolf that Peter had was like going towards him.
Yeah. So. Definitely. So during this scene, Spencer escapes. And I think we called this from the beginning of the episode that someone was going to steal Jefferson's hat. Yes. You know, the second it couldn't be that easy to get back to the Enchanted Forest. It couldn't be that easy to.
As
make
soon
a
as the
portal.
Blue Fairy said, "Keep this safe in a locked up place,"
we knew.
and you're like, "Okay, someone's gonna take it."
But why was it so easy for Spencer to escape after like Prince Charming's like, "Hey, yo, this guy did this and that." The townspeople were like, "Oh yeah, make way."
You just push
over
the grandma.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Granny, badass tonight.
Badass.
Because
she's always badass.
Why is she not?
Yeah, I mean, she came. I thought I loved it in the opening when we first saw her when she was the welder, and then she flips up that thing. And it's like, oh yeah, just Granny. You know,
that's Granny doing
just
her
Granny
thing.
welding, and then Granny comes out with the crossbow and shoots Spencer, like clips his hand or something.
I was hoping though that if David didn't have the cojones or like didn't have the means to kill Spencer, that Granny would step up to the plate and kill him. And I guess she did nick him a little bit, but I just I don't like him.
Yeah. She definitely stopped him with the arrow.
Yeah.
So that was
and I feel like if she had wanted to hit him, she would have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a warning shot, so.
But he still ran away.
Yeah.
I love how Granny's character is the same in both. In the fairytale and in Storybrooke, because the other characters, they're kind of similar and different, but Granny's more consistent throughout.
Yeah, definitely. I love how she said, you know, she still maintains some of the wolf qualities, where even though she, and it's a curse because she runs a hotel so she can hear everything that goes on, which makes me wonder how many secrets she's heard over the 28 years. Or, I mean, I guess maybe not over the 28 years, but over the past few days, or, you know.
Yeah, see, ABC, we need a Granny backstory episode.
Or maybe that'll come into play later
when
on.
August was there, what did he, you know, do and say at the inn? What did Granny hear?
Yeah. Why has no one gone to check on him in that room?
Well, because he's gone. Remember?
Oh, yeah, he disappeared.
He left.
Oh, yeah.
So we think.
And hopefully we'll find out more about that as well. But I guess the King George versus David battle will continue on throughout this season.
Why wasn't King George, like, locked away after their little bonfire extravaganza where he threw the hat in?
He just gets away with everything,
I mean,
guess.
he still killed a person, and he
did,
was not locked away at all for a murder.
Maybe
like,
we'll
people
see
let
that
him
in the
go.
next episode. Like, he'll finally get justice.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they have him right there. He didn't escape this time. He's actually standing there talking about how, I did it, and kind of proud of it in a way.
Do you think he'll be his own defense attorney? As he is an attorney?
He could represent himself.
He could.
But we only saw King George and David together. It was just them two at the end.
And Ruby.
Yeah, and Ruby.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll see more people trying to get him afterwards.
Yeah.
Bust out the cuffs, man.
I would like to see him go down. I mean, maybe we'll see more backstory because we do know that he was once in love and maybe he was once a good guy, but I feel like I don't know if there's any way of him not being evil at this point.
This is true.
Yeah. So, down with King George.
Yeah.
Off with his head. Sorry. Last topic of the night, I want to discuss the whole dream sequence. We were told that we were going to find out more about these dreams, and it happened in both Storybrooke and in present-day Enchanted Forest, where Aurora had a bad dream and Henry had a bad dream. And in the last dream sequence of the night, Rumpelstiltskin had given Henry this medallion or what?
Something.
Like a
necklace.
vial.
Yeah.
It was a
necklace. Yeah.
Necklace vial.
That helped him control his actions in the dream. And when they fall asleep, Aurora and Henry fall asleep at the same time, and Henry is able to control his actions. He, diminishes the fire a little bit and calls out to Aurora. He's like, "Hey, you over there. What you doing?
What's up?
Yeah.
Fancy seeing you here."
And Aurora wakes up. Henry wakes up. Aurora wakes up and calls Snow and Emma over, and she says, "I saw this boy. He talked to me, and he said his name is Henry."
I just got chills again.
No.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
really good.
So, do we think that this dream is a means of communication, or is it potentially a portal?
I think it's a ways of communication because if you think about it, dreams in real life, they are a way of solving people's problems. And so I think that principle just will translate over to this type of storyline. It's a way of communication, maybe a way to find out how to get out.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say something that Rumpel said was that, their souls travel to these other worlds. And I know in like the previews we kind of saw Henry trying to be a brave person and do some stuff. So I feel like we know it has to be some sort of darker magic because it comes from the sleeping curse. But what exactly does that entail, that it's like their souls that are doing this?
It's more like astral projection.
Well,
It's
you in your dream state. I think that, I know we saw the dream catcher last time, but one of the things that the Indians or Native Americans always believed is that that's still a state of, your being. So maybe it'll come into play.
Yeah, I mean,
but go on.
it's definitely, I think, definitely a means of communication, and it's gonna definitely play further, especially since we saw like the preview for in 2 weeks, the next episode. I hope it might be a kind of a portal, but if anything, it'll be a way for them to like figure out to get in sync.
Yeah.
I think.
To at least say that they're safe and maybe. But do we think that Aurora can now communicate as well, or is it just Henry that can?
I kind of feel like Henry can, by talking to her this first time, I feel like it's going to be Henry letting her know, like, hey, this isn't, we can control our state of being here, and sort of helping her relax so that she's not freaking out, and then they can talk over that way and maybe warn everyone that Cora's still out there. And
now she knows who Henry is, but Henry doesn't necessarily know who she is yet.
I think that since Aurora told Snow and Emma, like, I spoke to a boy named Henry, they're going to be like, oh, you need to try to talk to him, and then it's going to kind of play into that. Yeah.
But she technically can't control her actions unless she has this amulet medallion
Maybe
thing.
she'll learn. I mean,
Henry can control it though, so there is some level of.
He can take down the fire.
Yeah, he can take down the fire.
Make it easier
I think that will help her relax.
Yeah.
Because there's not fire all around her.
Yeah. Right.
But if you remember from last episode, Snow said that she had the same sort of dreams after, her sleeping curse, and she said that they went away after a while. So we don't know how long this means of communication or a portal is going to be available.
Yeah, I thought that too, so they better act quick.
Yeah, because Rumpel said once the soul is free, then you don't have these dreams anymore.
Yeah, so I guess now they're going to be telling people, go back to sleep, I have a message to send through.
Yeah. Henry won't need his coffee anymore.
Yeah, Henry's going to stop drinking the coffee and just start sleeping all day.
Yeah.
Not a bad life.
Well, yeah.
The sleeping part.
Maybe he'll show up.
Dude, that'd be cool.
I know, right?
There are so many other stories that I feel like they could include in one.
So many.
That haven't been tapped into yet. But
there's a lot. For some reason, every time because there's all these commercials on TV now about Moby Dick. It's like for the tablet readers or something. I keep going, oh man, that would be cool if like, Moby Dick came into Once Upon a Time. And
Moby Dick is probably the same. They would make it the same whale as in as in
Pinocchio.
Pinocchio.
Yeah.
So, any other thoughts on tonight's episode before we get into news and gossip?
I liked it.
Thank you, Marisa.
I really did enjoy, seeing more Ruby and getting a little bit more answers about the dream that we were all wondering about. So.
Yeah, that dream part was probably, I mean, I love Ruby, but getting some answers on that dream the week after it was brought up was excellent.
Thank you, producers.
I was like, thank God someone brought that up again.
They had to do that like huge dream sequence right before, like we had to wait 2 weeks to see the next thing.
No, but I liked how they actually showed the burning room, because in last week's episode when they first mentioned it, they just described it, and so we can make up with our own imaginations what it looked like. Yeah. But then they actually visually showed us.
Marisa, you said during the episode that the red room of doom looked very similar to the wolf's cave.
Wolf's den. Yeah. There's red curtains and stuff, so I don't know. I kind of wanted to hope that they were somehow related, but the den had windows. So.
Yes.
Which, how did it have? I thought they were underground.
It was. I feel like it's just one of those sub-level basements.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like where it's.
It reminded me of Game of Thrones,
not that far,
to be honest.
Game of Thorns, perhaps.
Oh man.
Okay. Well, let's move on into news and gossip with Tiona.
Yay.
There we go.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Okay, so this news is kind of sad, but it could be good. I don't know. Anyways, Eion Bailey, who plays August, was just cast in the lead role for a TNT pilot called Trooper. So it's just a pilot as of right now, which, I mean, it could not get picked up for a season. It's also on TNT, which is a cable station. It's, shorter seasons, and they kind of split it. So what does that mean for August is all I'm thinking about right now. It could mean that he's not around as much, but again, with a shorter season for this show, if it goes through, he could still come on for a couple guest star spots and stuff.
And in first season, I guess he was only in there a few times.
Yeah, but I'm just like, well, we cannot just completely write August out of the story now.
Well, then the same goes for the actor, I don't remember his name, who plays Sydney Flash.
He's in so many things.
Yeah, he's in Revolution
right now.
So
wasn't he in Breaking Bad as well?
Yeah, but I think he died. I don't watch that show, though.
Don't tell me.
But
only on season 4.
I don't watch the show, so I don't know what happened.
Just the fact that, like, actors can be cast in another TV show, but they can still come back.
Yeah. So that was my kind of sad news. But in the Twitter world, this guy, Anthony Covino, started a Twitter campaign to get the cast of Once Upon a Time on Entertainment Weekly, which obviously paid off about a month ago. They were on there. So now his new thing is he's trying to get Josh and Jennifer Goodwin to host SNL. So he started a new Twitter campaign.
I would love that.
For to get them to host SNL. So he's been tweeting at the SNL people and trying to get people to pick up on it and stuff.
Think of how many cool skits they could do.
I mean,
Once Upon a Time.
I don't know if you guys watch, but last year they actually had a skit on there that was the Real Housewives of Disney, and it was about all the Disney princesses. So I mean, they already did that once. So coming in, you could have a lot of fun with this show on SNL, and seeing those two together. I mean, they obviously already have good chemistry. So
has there ever been two hosts?
Mary-Kate and Ashley used to do it.
Well, but they're twins.
Yeah, they're twins, so they only count as one person.
You couldn't just have Mary-Kate. It would be odd.
Yeah, that would be odd. And another Twitter campaign that started up, I actually saw this a couple times today. Bailey Madison, who plays Young Snow, she's awesome. All her followers are trying to get her on Ellen's show.
Aww.
So they're tweeting Bailey for Ellen, and
we're actually trying to get her on our show.
Yeah, so
hopefully
Bailey for AfterBuzz.
Bailey for AfterBuzz.
Start a Twitter campaign. Get her here.
All of our listeners, start that.
Yes.
Yes. And just the last bit, this was a fun piece. I didn't realize that Jennifer Goodwin and Jennifer Morrison knew each other for years and are actually really close friends. But Jennifer Goodwin was quoted this week saying, "It's funny how these things work out. I said at the time that if I had to spend the rest of my life in another country," they shoot in Canada, "this would be the person," talking about Jennifer, "I wanted to be with."
Oh.
And I just thought that was really sweet, because not only is she the luckiest girl because she's dating Josh and getting to work with him, but she's also working with one of her best friends. So and she's playing, because she's a Disney freak and Snow White's like her favorite princess. She's playing her favorite princess too. So she's kind of knocked it out of the ballpark with this job right here.
Has lucked out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Good for her though.
Yeah, and I never knew they were such good friends, but kind of makes it
sense.
obvious because their on-screen chemistry is so good that you knew that they get along, but you didn't know that, they've known each other for years and they're actually like best friends.
Well, Snow has chemistry with a lot of people on it.
Yeah. Just means Snow's a nice person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Snow.
Yeah, or Jennifer.
Jennifer.
She can be Snow too.
They are both.
Yep,
She is all of it. They are one.
Yes. So let's move right along into predictions for tonight.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I like how you mouse the predictions. So predictions for tonight. We saw a little bit of next week's episode. What did you guys think of that?
It looks like
In 2 weeks.
Oh, 2 weeks. Sorry.
And it looks like they're asking Henry to do something with this dream thing that's dangerous, which is why I'm scared, because it's dealing with souls, and he's such a young boy to be dealing with like the fact of his soul being on the line. But
Yeah.
I think Henry can handle it, though.
Yeah.
Him of all people, he's the one who like knows everyone.
Yeah.
And I think I predicted a while back that Henry's gonna save the day. He's gonna save all of them somehow. So I think he's definitely gonna play an integral role
I mean,
in getting Emma and Snow back.
he's got the determination and the love and the will. He's got the extra power to communicate.
Yeah. He said he wants to be a hero, but I feel like he kind of already is. I mean, he's the one that brought Emma back to Storybrooke. That's huge. I mean, none
That's
of this would have happened without him.
the curse would not have gotten broken without him going to find her.
Yeah. So, any other predictions for next week? We see King George will get his judgment day, kind of.
Yeah.
But
Hopefully, more Regina or Rumpelstiltskin. I think they have powers that are going to be really useful.
yeah.
And we see Cora come back too.
Yeah, Cora.
I want to learn more about Neil. I would like to see
You
that.
like
that
him.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know if he's gonna make his way back to Storybrooke now that that postcard came saying that the curse is broken. So
I also want to see if Hook ever got down that beanstalk.
and you know what I want to know?
A lot of questions.
The money that Neil gave to August
To
for
give to
Emma never got to her. So I want to know what August did with that.
Hookers. No, I'm kidding.
Brothel.
Brothel.
The werewolf slayer.
I still think, how last week's episode, Emma asked the giant for another favor. I don't think keeping Hook was another favorite. I think she still does have a being somehow.
Yeah.
Like the giant
Maybe
lied
she
to her
asked
saying
for
that
the
she did have
necklace that he had.
I think Emma has a being
That would be cool.
somehow.
The giant will be back.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
So.
I think so.
Well,
But they're still stuck. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They're kind of goes my prediction.
Yeah. Well, let us know your predictions. We will be on Twitter all week talking to fans. So if you have anything that you want to talk to us about, Once Upon a Time related, then feel free to shoot us some tweets. I am on Twitter at Catherine Kelley.
I'm at TweetT22, TweeTee22.
And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Marisa Movies. That's Marisa Movies.
And I'm at KAORIOUS Kaorius. And don't forget to check out the Afterblog for Once Upon a Time.
Yes. And then you can find all of us on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV and on Instagram as well at AfterBuzz TV. So make sure to follow us on both. Until next time, we don't have a show next week, but we will be back the following Sunday, November 25th, I believe, at 10 p.m. Pacific. So make sure to tune in to that episode, and we'll catch you in the meantime.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.